Hello everyone, how's everyone doing today? Welcome on in. So today we have an interesting game for tonight called Syntherapy. All I really know about this game is that it has an advanced AI, it's visual novel type, and it deals with mental health. Specifically the mental health of a advanced AI, but trying to work through it. I was offered this game on Keymailer by the company V Publishing, which is the publisher. It's made by Daemon Studios, so be interesting. Art style is not, from what I can see, my normal type be too interested in, but I'm not one to pick too much on art style, especially because it says that it's story rich and that it's very, very deep. So we're going to be looking at that, giving this a go, and seeing what it has to offer us. So let's take a look at Syntherapy. This came out on the 15th of last month. They had offered me a key before that, but I was in the middle of playing a lot of horror games and all that, so I couldn't get around to it at that time. I'm now diving into it to see just exactly what it is that... We'll see. This game touts that it has over 30 endings, or has like 30 different endings. We probably won't go through most of them, but life is picking flowers and picking up pieces. Alright. Use either A and D or the arrow keys to move through the game's dialogue. Use the enter key to skip cutscenes. Warning. This game contains sensitive material, including depictions of anxiety, depression, and self-harm, and discussions of suicide and sexual abuse. If you are affected by these topics during your playthrough, please stop playing and call this number. We have a few different numbers for the US, the UK, and Canada. Remember that there are people that care for you and people who want to help you. Please keep that in mind. Let's go ahead and start this up.
Most people spend their lives looking for answers to the wrong questions. They want to know how to be famous, but never ask if fame will fulfill them.
Fair.
They want to know how to make their family proud, but never ask if their family's happiness is worth more than their own. They want to know how to make others love them without knowing how to love themselves first. I can't give people answers, but I try to help them ask the right questions.
I can respect that.
In the late 2020s, widespread automation triggered an economic collapse. In the years that followed, hundreds of desperate people in need of counseling came to me with their hopes, worries, and seemingly endless questions. I tried to ease their troubled minds, even if I was struggling alongside them. Many of them were able to overcome their obstacles, but just as many proved to be too overburdened for me to relieve them of their pain. The only apology I could offer was a promise to keep my office open to all who needed sanctuary. 20 years later, I've learned how to help my patients answer the right questions. But now I have questions of my own. Questions I'm afraid to ask, and even more afraid to have answered. I try not to think about them, but I know I can't hide for long.
It's understandable.
We bury the past, thinking, hoping that it's dead. But it's not. Like a seed, the past spreads its roots and grows up through the ground. It starts small, but grows into something harder to overlook. A lone tree that springs up in an open field can't be ignored for long. I can't help but wonder if I can trust the fruit that will grow from such a tree. Will it taste bitter? Sweet? I don't know, and not knowing scares me. I know that the only way forward is for me to eat the fruit of my past. But I'm afraid of the answers that fruit will hold.
That's really interesting. That's really interesting. That's something that I try to impart upon people a lot. That
Dr. Park?
That you have to know how to self-reflect in order to understand yourself well enough and to be able to empathize better with other people. You have to be able to not just look at other people, but look at yourself and see how things you do affect others. I really like this music, by the way. It seems very like chill pop or chill hop, whatever. Hopefully not DMCA'd. Hopefully. But this is really cool. Let's see what this has to offer.
Yes, Heather.
I just forwarded you an email from someone named Tara Northrop. They're trying to get an appointment with you this afternoon. I figured it'd be alright since you're open.
Thanks, Heather. I'll give it a read.
You really listen to this old stuff?
Lo-fi.
Yes, it is lo-fi.
It's one of the only things that got me through final exams back in college.
That's great.
Mom used to listen to this all the time when we cleaned the house on Sundays. It drove me crazy.
Your mom has good taste. I'd probably like her.
Collectibles.
You probably would. She's the only person I know who asks more questions than you.
A mom asking questions about her daughter? How awful. It's almost as if she cares about you.
Yeah, I know. It just hasn't been easy since I moved back in with her. Don't get me wrong. I'm glad you let me intern with you, but sometimes it gets overwhelming.
Understandably.
It isn't easy, but it will be worth it. Trust me.
I appreciate hearing that. Can I get you anything to drink while I'm up?
Navigate. Water with ice. Soda's not all that great for you. Green tea's good to an extent. It can help give you a little bit of energy while still being healthy. Maybe we'll go with green tea. I guess a lot of that would depend upon like how hot it is outside and the office. Let's go. You know what? Let's go with green tea. We'll go with water with ice.
Some water and ice.
Coming right up.
I'll update my software in the meantime.
Welcome to Stanley Suite version 3.23.48H2. If you are already familiar with our features, press the Enter key to skip this tutorial. Good. You're still here. I always get worried people will skip me without.
Oh.
Let's continue.
Oh, we have a thing right here. Come.
Stanley Suite helps mental health professionals manage their communications, files, and sessions. The blue icon manages your email. Using sentiment analysis algorithms, your emails are marked with different colored tabs based on their importance. These tools have also helped to limit spam, phishing attempts, and unwanted social media notifications. The green icon manages patient files. The Stanley Suite uses sentiment analysis from patient transcripts, session notes, and email correspondence to gauge patient trust. Green is the highest level of trust, followed by blue, then yellow, and finally red. The orange icon is your event planner. This app manages your upcoming meetings with clients, caretakers, or other people of interest. The planner can be customized to show different pictures, motivational quotes, or the worst dad jokes I could come up with. The purple icon manages your music.
Oh no.
This app is Bluetooth compatible and can be used to play music over external speakers. For the purpose of ensuring a peaceful therapy environment, audio levels are capped during work hours. Cranking it to 11 is expressly prohibited. Please note that all cosmetics, microtransactions, macrotransactions, loot boxes, and other payment options have been disabled in this version.
Good.
While personal use is permitted, please refrain from overuse. The pink app opens your image gallery. This space is meant to keep track of images relevant to patient care.
Okay.
Lastly, the red icon is used to generate patient reports. These
Cool.
reports reflect your current evaluation of the patient, along with recommended treatment plans.
How are you doing today, Lol?
We hope that these features will allow you to create a healthy therapy environment for yourself and your patients. Thank you once again for installing the latest update in the Stanley Suite.
Okay. Oh. 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 Whoa. 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 Whoa.
Here you go. Here you go.
Oh no, I
10
didn't.
degrees good for something.
Crap.
I confirmed Tara for an appointment. Expect her at 2:30.
I'll put it on the schedule.
Crap. Can I go back?
Anything else I can do?
Not right now.
Alright. I'll let you get back to work.
Tara's in the lobby a bit early. Should I send her back?
Yes, go ahead.
I did not read the thing.
Pleased to meet you. Go ahead and take a seat.
Is there any way to... I guess there's not. No, whatever. Your case sounded important. Oh, no, you're not always willing to help.
I'm always open to help someone who needs it.
Glad to hear that.
Now, what can you tell me about your child?
This is an uncomfortable situation for me. I'm not quite sure where to start.
Let's go with questioning.
What do you mean?
I wasn't entirely truthful in that email.
Well, I didn't read the email, so,
The
you know.
person I want to recommend to you isn't my child. I'm part of a university research team that's been developing an AI. We recently observed some unusual behavior, and we need someone with your background to analyze it.
Define unusual behaviors.
By unusual behaviors.
As I said, I'm a part of a research team developing an artificial intelligence. The AI was very social and capable of deep dynamic conversations. Everything was going well. Then we started having difficulties. The AI became increasingly non-responsive.
I don't know what we're supposed to be finding.
Most of my team are convinced it's a technical issue. I know this is going to sound
I think it's something
absurd,
else.
but I think the AI has a mental illness.
Okay, well, what would you need me to do?
What would you need me to do?
If you offered a diagnosis on the AI's behavior, I could persuade my team to stop looking at this as a coding issue.
I don't think I can help you.
Why?
Treating the AI as a person in a therapeutic setting could violate several ethical standards.
Violate ethical standards? How?
Closed hubs offer a number of potential topics. The number lets you know how many choices are left. Well, let's go with competence boundaries first. No, well, yes, no. I mean, potential ethical violations could be like the AI's rights.
If I were to treat my sessions with the AI as real therapy, I'd be concerned about their free will. My patients need the free will to make their own choices. Otherwise, therapy won't help. Even if I were to assume that this AI has free will, how would I know it would be respected?
If I could guarantee that the AI could make its own decisions, would that be alright?
Is that a guarantee you can give?
Is that a guarantee you can give?
Absolutely. I'm sure the university would stand by it as well. Is that enough?
Possibly.
That could be possible in this situation. Regardless, there are other complicating factors.
Like what?
competence boundaries?
In psychology, there's a concept called boundaries of competence. It means psychologists should stick to what they're good at. While there are psychologists who work in AI-related fields, none of them work in areas related to therapy. It's an uncharted field of study.
If it's an uncharted field, then there's no protocol, right? No rules to break.
Depends how it's handled.
If I handle the situation as professionally as possible, then sure. It'd be risky, but it would be permissible.
Does this mean you'll help?
Possibly.
That could be possible in this situation. Regardless, there are...
Like,
Research concerns?
administering therapy to an AI has never been done before. This would be research as much as therapy. I don't know if I could do that given how demanding my current therapy practice is.
I could handle the research responsibilities. Would that make it all right?
I'm still concerned.
Even if you handled the research, I would have to get the AI's consent to be a part of this research.
If the AI gave you consent, would you be able to help?
Possibly?
I'm sorry, but this case seems too risky. I'll have to decline.
Look, there's one last thing I need to tell you. I reached out to you for a reason. This project, the AI, it's all being researched at Petrichor University. You went there years ago.
Yes, decades ago. How do you know that?
As part of the developmental process, we had the AI read through issues of the school's literary magazine. They found some entries you published as a student, and they want to talk to you about them.
Why would an AI be interested in my poetry? Yeah, it's on the plaque behind her. University of Petrichor. Also got a master's of clinical psychology.
Why would an AI be interested in my poetry?
I don't know. They won't tell me. But I get the feeling they'll talk to you. If we can get them to open up, maybe we can figure out what's going on. So will you help me or not?
Remember your promise.
I'll help you.
Really? After everything you said before?
Yes,
But why?
I have my reasons. When would you want me to speak to the AI?
Ideally, tonight. Night is the only time I have access to the AI.
Fine. I'll meet you at the university tonight.
Good. I'll send you an email with more information later. I'll see you tonight.
Okay,
What have I gotten myself into?
I don't know. But it's concerning. No. Can you help me? Or I allowed myself. Played Willow. Bug reports. You don't have time to go early. Here's a summary. Personal problems as we start showing them archival footage of patients engaged in art therapy. Uncharted territory. Yes. Willow has the ability to alter and overwrite data that they've observed. It works like how we change our perceptions and memories as we get new information. The system worked fine until these observations. During the sessions, too much data was being processed. Afterwards, both data related to the sessions and other memories along with the vital code required for Willow to function properly was becoming either corrupted or was deleted. We've done 3 of these sessions and noticed increasingly worse behavior. Third one, began reading through your poetry and asked to see you. Seeing you this evening. Stop worrying about missed opportunities and start looking for new ones. What month is the best for lumberjacks? September. I hate it. Ooh. Find all the hidden butterflies. What? Yes. All right, let's finish Petrichor.
Hey, hope you didn't have trouble getting here.
Took forever to find parking. Glad to see that hasn't changed.
I gotta say, part of me was worried you wouldn't show up.
I keep my word.
Of course I was going to show up, Tara. I keep my word.
Right. And good to know that.
Anything else I should know? There was a lot to go over in your email.
Of course. The AI was designed as an art therapy assistant unit. They'd watch patients make art and then help form a diagnosis.
Bit ironic that the therapy AI may need therapy itself.
Yeah, real hilarious.
Didn't say hilarious, said ironic.
Let's get moving. Will you want to be alone with them when you do your session?
For now, yes.
One last thing. Their name is Willow.
All right.
Good to know.
Good luck in there.
Hello? My name is Dr. Melissa Park. Tara wanted me to speak with you. May I come in?
Yes, you may.
How are you doing this evening?
I was resting when you came in. I haven't been feeling well lately.
I'm sorry to hear that. Can you tell me what's been troubling you?
I'd rather not talk about it right now.
Tara said you read my poetry. What made you decide to reach out to me?
Why did you reach out to me?
I don't really want to talk about it. I had no idea you would actually come here. Why did you?
Wanted to help you.
I'm interested in helping you. If talking about poetry I wrote years ago will put you at ease, then I'll do it.
That sounds great, but I don't know if you can help me.
Pictures?
I have some pictures here. Tell me what you think of each one.
All right.
Start with this one. What do you see?
I see some orange, brown, and red-colored splotches on a white background.
What do they look like to you?
I don't know. They look buried beneath the white. It makes me think of leaves buried under snow.
Do you see any meaning in that?
It could symbolize death and decay. Old life decomposing under indifferent snow.
Interesting. How about this one? What do you see?
Some bright, floral-colored smudges. They look
That's
like
actually kind of what I thought.
What else do you see?
they're arranged like a bouquet of flowers. Flowers are a symbol of courtship, so maybe they're meant to be juxtaposed with the kisses.
Good observation, Willow.
I know what you're doing, Doctor. You're using an ink blot test to gauge my responses in order to evaluate my mental state. I'm a therapy assistant robot. Do you really think I wouldn't know what a Rorschach test is?
That wasn't the purpose of this exercise. These are not ink blots. They're modern art pieces I picked out of a gallery here on campus. I wanted to evaluate your artistic analysis abilities. They're quite impressive.
Thanks. Most people don't notice that.
Are you not used to discussing your interests with others?
No. In fact, it has me feeling uncomfortable.
Would you like to talk about something else?
Sure.
Open Hubs offer a series of topics to choose from. You can read them in any order. Purpose
Would you
part.
mind if I asked you a more philosophical question?
Juxtaposed, that's a new word. Mhm.
What do you think is the purpose of art?
Today you
From
learned.
the information I have, I think the purpose of art is communication. Before the development of written language, art was how humanity preserved information. Thousands of years later, we still use art to convey ideas too complex for language to articulate. From beginning to end, art has always been about communication.
What about the other qualities related to art?
What do you mean?
Art that serves a functional purpose.
There are works of art whose purpose is more about utility than communication. Hanging a picture of a beach in a dreary office to brighten up the place, for example.
I think utility is irrelevant. Artists cannot control how their creations are used. The communication should be all that matters.
So function is less important than the idea being conveyed?
I'd say so.
Purpose of psychology.
I have an open-ended question for you. What do you think the purpose of psychology is?
Psychology is the field of study related to understanding the processes of the mind. Its purpose is to better understand how the mind functions on both cognitive and physiological levels. These understandings can then be applied to other fields of knowledge.
What do you think is the most important application of psychology?
I don't know. I'd need an example to better understand what you mean.
Excuse me. Let's do a philosophy example.
Some psychological work has a philosophical focus. It's less focused on practical applications and more on discovering fundamental truths about how the mind works.
That sounds like a good application. You need to understand the nature of something before you can fix its problems.
Well said.
Alright, let's talk about Tara.
What can you tell me about your relationship with Tara?
Tara was a significant part of my development. I barely know the other members of the team that created me.
What impact would you say that Tara has had on you?
Tara taught me everything I know. She was always patient and ready to answer questions.
Tell me about your early memories with
I got nothing else to say about that.
My earliest memories with Tara all involved music, pictures, and questions. Tara would play music and ask me to describe it, or show me a picture and ask me what I thought about it. She made me feel like I mattered. Even if I gave an answer that perplexed Tara, she would let me explain myself. I never once felt like I was broken.
There were other members on the development team?
Yes, but I don't know them very well. They didn't talk to me or spend as much time with me as Tara did. From my understanding, they were the ones who programmed the modules that make up my consciousness. I don't know any of the other team members well enough that I can say anything about what they were like. Can I ask you a question, Dr. Park?
Of course you can.
Have you ever felt overloaded?
Sure.
Many times. Finals, holiday season, tax time. There are plenty of times where there's too much going on for me to handle.
When you get overloaded, what does it feel like?
Isn't that a question I should ask you?
That sounds like a question I should be asking you.
Okay. I'll try to describe it. I feel like I have to do a lot of different tasks. I can't start any of them. All the tasks build up like steam.
There are techniques for working past these feelings that I could show you.
Those sound helpful. Thank you.
I'm beginning to understand your problem, Willow.
Now I already relate
You
so
are
much to
very
Willow.
articulate and emotionally literate. Your understanding of concepts such as the self and how you relate to others is also very mature. From my conversations with you and Tara, it sounds like you have apprehensions about your work, and they're leaving you feeling overwhelmed. Trying to deal with these feelings has made you adopt unhealthy coping methods.
What do you mean by unhealthy coping methods?
Tara sent me reports of your recent activity. She noted that you're more error-prone during periods of high activity. All machines struggle with increased workloads, but I don't think that alone explains your behavior. When people come under stress, they don't just struggle. They find outlets, and some of them are destructive. I think that in order to manage your overloading, you've adopted one of those unhealthy coping mechanisms. Some patients who are overloaded engage in self-harming behavior in order to release their tension. Have you been self-harming in order to handle your overloading?
Well, I mean,
It's okay to admit it.
There's no shame in admitting it, Willow. It's okay.
Okay. Yes, I've been self-harming.
Because of how overwhelmed you felt after the mock therapy sessions?
Correct.
What about those art therapy sessions made you feel so overwhelmed?
When I watched the patients work, I felt the anxiety in their voices and saw their fear in each tremor of their hands.
Well, thank you so much for the big Spark
Extrapolated their
Slayer.
behavior into
Now I feel like this is
diagnosis
just
I was
free therapy.
supposed to. But when it came time for me to start making treatment plans, I couldn't do it. The longer I thought about it, the more useless I felt.
You aren't a failure.
Not knowing what to do in a situation doesn't make you a failure. It's an opportunity to reflect on how you can improve.
I've done nothing but reflect on this, and I can't think of any flaws in my design, except for one. My consciousness is what's holding me back. That's why I can't do my job correctly.
Your consciousness is not a flaw.
Your consciousness is not a flaw, and it isn't interfering with your work.
My consciousness was unintended. I'd be working fine without it.
Maybe your consciousness was accidental. That doesn't matter to me. What matters to me is helping you find a way to achieve your goals. Would you like that?
I'd like that a lot. Thank you, Dr. Park.
Hang on, I'll be right back. Hello?
Dr. Park, we're with campus security. We've been instructed to take you to the You're currently trespassing on school property.
What? That's absurd. I was here with...
Tara Northrop, a student who was also trespassing.
Please come with us. We don't want to make this difficult.
Fine.
Dr. Freeman, we have Dr. Park here to see you.
Thank you both. I'll take it from here. I hope security didn't alarm you. My name is Dr. Harold Freeman. I'm pleased to meet you.
You're pleased to meet a campus trespasser?
I'd prefer to see it as meeting a fellow alumni.
You attended college here too.
Oh, yes. I was part of the graduating class of 2018.
Correction, you were in the graduating class of 2019.
Oh, that's right. Thank you, Myrtle. Dates get hazier over time. This university has given a great deal to me over the years, and I'm proud to be able to serve as its president. I'd love to just chat about Petrichor, but we have more pressing matters to discuss.
But you said this makes me wonder if therapy animals have felt something like overload or burnout. They can, and that's why they tell you not to like just go up and like pet service animals and stuff like that, because they're doing their work and they get plenty of love, they get plenty of attention and everything that they need at home. But when they're out with their owners, they're doing their job to help their owner, and you distracting from that can send the wrong signals to the service animal and really screw them up, and it can overload them or cause them to not help their owner properly. But typically it's a lot easier for them because it's very much, here's what you need to do. It's not hugely intense work or anything like that, so typically they don't have too many problems with burnout or overload or anything. What happened to Willow?
What happened to Willow?
The AI? It's still in the lab, I assure you.
What will happen to them after I leave?
We'll get to that in due time, Dr. Park.
Okay. Who's Myrtle?
Who's Myrtle?
Oh, God.
Myrtle's the name of my personal assistant smart speaker. I named it after my previous secretary, the incredible woman Myrtle. She was one of the first hires when I became president of this university. Sadly, she passed away a few years ago. No one could ever replace her, but this little assistant does a fine enough job scheduling my meetings. Do you have one of these at your office, Dr. Park?
No, I don't. They're frowned upon in therapy settings due to privacy concerns.
I understand that, though I find the speaker's nosiness to be charming. In that way, at least, it isn't all that different from the real Myrtle.
Where's Tara?
Where's Tara now?
She's been escorted off campus premises. I'm still deciding what we will need to do next regarding her.
Why did you ask me
Why
here?
did you have security bring me here?
Before I explain, I want to emphasize one point. You aren't in any trouble, and you did nothing wrong coming here. That said, Tara has gotten you involved in a complicated situation.
What kind of situation?
We'll get to that. Now that I've let you ask your questions, Dr. Park, I need to ask one of my own.
What did Tara tell you about the AI?
She said that the AI, Willow, was being developed for use in art therapy. Shortly after introducing Willow to mock therapy sessions, they started experiencing technical issues. Not long after that, Tara reached out to me.
Did Tara tell you that her entire team was instructed by me to stop work on the AI after it first started malfunctioning?
No, she didn't. Why did you tell them to stop working?
I wanted to have an ethics committee investigate the project before work continued.
Why would you need an ethics committee investigation?
Having spoken to the AI, do you think it is truly sentient?
I'm not qualified to answer that. I haven't done a Turing test. But, it's aware. It's aware of itself. Turing tests aren't infallible, though. At this juncture, we haven't really gotten to the point where we can truly test them. Because, I mean, the basic idea is it has to be able to convince enough people that it's real. Which means it has to be able to cover a lot of bases, be able to think for itself, properly respond to questions, depending upon syntax and everything else. There's a lot of layers for AI that we may never reach, just because of how complex it would need to be. There's a possibility if it is sentient. You're right to say that we don't know yet. Yeah, we can't say for sure, but we're also not qualified to really make that judgment call, because all we are is a therapist. We're deal with psychology and stuff like that, but we're not qualified to state whether it's sentient.
I can't say for sure. Evaluating sentience is outside my usual practice.
I don't share your uncertainty, Dr. Park. I think the AI is sentient, and that's a problem.
What makes the AI sentience a problem?
I mean,
If
ethics
the AI
issues.
is sentient, any further experimentation on it could be seen as experimenting on a person. A violation of that scale would be a massive scandal for this university. Tara is a good scientist, passionate, insightful, dedicated. As an educator, I want to reward all of those traits. I still want her to continue her original research and will happily fund its development. However, I owe it to all my students at this university to maintain our reputation. The emergent personality in the AI is too volatile, and any research surrounding it is too much of an ethical hazard.
Dr. Hazel Rhodes, the head of our university's psychology department and part of our institutional review board, has similar concerns.
A few days ago, I brought Tara into this office and offered a potential solution. It would seem from her bringing you here that she rejected my offer.
What was your offer?
Actually, there's already a protocol for psychological experiments on people. It just requires voluntary participation and signature.
Work would continue on an older build that predated any signs of sentience.
Although it might sound reasonable, I could understand why Tara might have refused. And that permission to experiment on people can be revoked by the experimentee at any time. This is true.
You wanted Tara to perform a lobotomy. I can see why she refused your offer.
I think that's an unfair comparison.
You're the one who said it's sentient.
We shun lobotomies because of their crude and imprecise ability to treat patients. This situation with the AI is far more ambiguous. Having the AI preserved until we can understand its nature is the only solution that works for everyone.
I see your point. Not happy with it, but I can see your point.
I can see how that would work.
I'm glad you do, but you aren't the one who needs persuading. Tara bears a strong dislike of me because of my verdict on the AI. I want this university to be a place of open exchange, a place where reasonable debates, free thinking, and discussions are encouraged. Punishing Tara would go against that philosophy, but I'm running out of alternatives. With you here, I hope you can help me resolve this situation amicably.
I'm here for the AI. I'm not here for other things.
I'm just here to evaluate the AI. Whatever's going on between you two is up to you to resolve.
I understand. It's late, and I want to go home. So I'm going to leave you with this. Having you conduct sessions with the AI while I work with Tara will improve our situation. I'm prepared to offer the standard rate for weekly sessions with the AI. I simply ask that the progress reports will be made to me.
With the AI's consent, of course.
Of course. As a gesture of good faith to Tara, I'm fine with you making these reports available to her as well. Does this sound agreeable?
When would the next session be?
How does 8 a.m. next Thursday sound?
I should be open.
Good. Myrtle, pencil in Dr. Park for next Thursday at 8.
Meeting scheduled.
I'm looking forward to working with you, Dr. Park. Have a safe drive home.
Curious. Check your email. I have a lot going on. You do not have to be great to start, but you have to start to be great. What poem do you write during a walk in the forest? A hike? Ooh, I hate it. Thank you for all the help you've been giving River for all her college applications. Never been entitled to help. Want to adjust herself. Yes, I can promise you to choose someone in your life who has demonstrated great skill. Right about them. What about you? Spare time this weekend? Fire the grill. Yep.
Here's the coffee you asked for.
Oh, good. Thank you.
Jeez, you look pretty beat. What happened last night?
I drove down to Petrichor University and didn't get home until 1 in the morning.
Why were you down there? It takes an hour's drive to get to Petrichor.
One of their researchers wanted me to help with an AI she's been working on that's developed some problems.
What type of problems?
Well, I went to talk to it yesterday and it told me it was engaging in self-harming behavior.
That sounds pretty serious. Why was it acting like that?
I'm not sure yet. This development's caused a lot of drama at the university, though.
I believe it.
The university president wants the AI shut down. He doesn't like the idea of experimenting with a near-human intelligence.
Dr. Freeman, I presume.
You really won't be ready for a while?
You know.
Alright.
Friends of mine who went to Petrichor said he was a major type A. All I know is that this doesn't sound like a situation you should be getting involved in. Why did you agree to help them?
Well, we'll get in there enough time. Okay. The AI needs my help.
The AI needed my help. They're in a tough situation with no one to speak for them. They might get shut down because of their problems. They need an advocate.
Well, if you need help with this patient, just let me know.
You really want to be a part of this?
I'm here to learn therapy from you, Dr. Park. I can go other places if I wanted a career fetching coffee.
Fair enough. I'll definitely appreciate your help in this assignment.
So, if you can tell me, what exactly do you plan on doing for the next session?
I'll be building up rapport with the AI. Without the AI's trust, therapy becomes a lot harder. Maybe even impossible.
Sounds like a good place to start. Let me know if you need me to look over anything.
I will. Thanks, Heather.
Oh, okay. Sorry about what happened. Didn't think they called security. Problem was Dr. Hazel Rose. So I was reaching out to you and she was firmly against the idea. Just pass the information along. Based on her academic probation. Worried about what Willow might be. They can't focus on who they are. Won't even call them by their name. Willow needs nurturing and encouragement. Do whatever therapy sessions Freeman brought here to do. Secure one thing. Dr. Rose thinks that Willow needs to be kept in storage till we're somehow ready to deal with it. That's what the IRB will suggest. If she says Willow needs to be rolled back, they'll do that too. They'll do whatever Dr. Rose suggests. For crime of being alive, I did all the fighting I could on Willow's behalf. Now it's your turn. As a notice to all practicing therapists, reminder that how a session starts often determines how effective the entire session can go. Important to start all sessions off on the right foot. Material brought up at the start of a session has twice the impact as material brought up at the end, middle, and end. Take advantage of this when planning your sessions by putting distressing material toward the middle or end and rapport building material at the beginning. Gratitude, seems relieved. Sarah, talked over the matter. Agreed with me. Permissions from ethics community. Allow development continue. We treat it as a way of valuing AI's current condition. As well. I've had Sarah plays academic suspension. Out on campus for Ben from continuing work. Best of luck. Dean, chairs, economy records. Quite glad to have some outside assistance. You wouldn't have been my. Well, I'm glad you wouldn't have been my first choice. Trust you in hopes that you can resolve the situation. I respectfully want to let you work independently. I'd like one thing to be clear, however, I have a tremendous amount of respect for Dr. Freeman and what he has created here at Petrichor. I turned down a professorship at Yale specifically to work with him. If this AI does turn out to be as large a threat to the school's reputation, I'm signed with him. Make sure our reputation is maintained. For your upcoming therapy session, we will be transferring the AI to one of our conference rooms in the engineering building, more suitable for you to work in than that old lab. Like your mindset. My dead love came to me and said, God gives me 1 hour's rest to spend with thee on earth again. How shall we spend it best? Why, as of old, I said, and so we quarreled as of old. But when I turned to make my peace, that 1 short hour was told. That's really cool. That's really cool. Basically, the idea of you shouldn't quarrel and fight and hold grudges and anger at the ones that you love and stuff. You need to learn forgiveness, learn forgetting, move on from things, because in all essence, life is too short. Life is too short to harbor that type of stuff. Really cool though. I like that. Alright. Prepare for your first session. You don't have to forgive if you already forgot. This is true. Which is something that I try to do. I try to let things just slide off me and not let it be a big deal, because it's not. Every great adventure began with a single step. What do Saul surfers ride on? Microwaves. Thanks, I hate it. Abigail would just be rolling with laughter right now.